My name is Jason Crowhurst. I'm in the service industry. I was looking for a place for my daughter and potentially for a retirement house in the future. I'm very happy that we've taken this step with Rhino Shield to get this done. My house was built in 1956, and we were looking for a little place to help with my daughter and get her into a little bit of a more stable situation. We found this place. We actually got it the first day it was listed. Ran down here and had a chance to meet with the realtor. Just fell in love with the place. It was a little bit, it needed a little bit of work. You know, we knew that, and we had some plans for it, but we had the opportunity to get her in a better situation, so we did. Yeah, our biggest concerns about this house was the fact that it was built in 1956, and it's an older place. It did have vinyl siding all over the entire place, and it was dirty. And we weren't real happy with the way it looked. So we wanted to, and that was one of our plans, was to eventually remove it, to kind of see what was underneath it. And it was a gamble because we didn't know if the siding underneath it was going to be worthwhile or not. But when we found it and we got a chance to get some off, we found not only was the wood in good shape, but it was also covered with lead paint. We embarked on the idea of trying to get all the vinyl off, get the lead paint off, and just get it back in good shape. That brought us to Rhino Shield, especially with the lead paint and encapsulating that and making sure that it wouldn't become a problem with our grandchildren that live here as well. I heard about Rhino Shield on the radio. What was so intriguing about it was not only did it have a 25-year warranty, but it was like 10 times thicker than paint. When we encountered the lead that was on this house, we decided to try and figure out a way to mitigate that. And our conversation with Gary at Rhino Shield proved that that was probably a good idea because of the way they handle the paint, because of the primer. We knew that it would no longer be a problem. We thought Rhino Shield would be specifically the way to go because of the lead paint, just the difficulty in not only getting it off of the house in the way it was, but also making sure it wouldn't continue to be a problem. Our research into that showed that one way to handle it would be to encapsulate it, that therefore sealing it off. We wanted something that would also look good. So when I heard about Rhino Shield on the radio several times, it became clear that that was the way to go. When we started looking at a solution for painting the house with the lead situation, I talked to several different painting companies. Many were concerned about how they would handle it, and many were also concerned about how it might look afterwards. When I talked to Gary, he gave me the opportunity to go and check on a guy in Fort Worth that had a house. It was an old wooden house as well. Just the idea that this solution would encapsulate it, and this solution would mitigate the potential lead problems. That was what made us really go with that direction. Additionally, when I was talking with other companies, they were concerned about pricing and time and just getting the job done, where Gary was not worried at all about whether he could do it and how he could do it and that kind of thing. The installation process went really well. Now, we did this in early January in 25, and so we did have a week or so where the weather was just not favorable, right? So it did take maybe about 2 weeks to get a job completely done, maybe a day or so more, but at least a week out of that was gone due to weather. The guys were out here, they were working even when it was, 35, 40 degrees outside, and they did the very best job that they could. So I was really proud of them. My first impression about the coating was actually a little bit different because I knew that they were going to put a primer on, and in my head, I expected it to be this thick, white, just kind of blah-looking primer like paint primer is. But what's neat about it is they put it on with a really thick application, and when it's dry, it goes from white to clear, and it's intentionally a little bit of a tacky feel. So when I stopped by the day they were doing the priming, it was kind of a little bit like, I thought you guys were done with the primer, but actually, and it didn't look like it, but actually it was, and they were ready to start painting. It really did help. They say that it's like 10 times thicker than paint. They put a lot of work into that primer to make it do what we needed to do in this situation. Again, back to the lead paint situation. The neighbors have been, from what my daughter has told me, she's the one that lives here primarily. She said the neighbors have said a lot about it. Watching the house go through from a dull yellow vinyl siding to, a really rough exterior, back to what it looks like now, it's just gorgeous. And they've had a lot of really great things to say about it. I would most certainly recommend Rhino Shield to pretty much anybody that's got an older house that they're looking to really renovate. What's very attractive about the idea is that it's got the 25-year warranty, and you might hear other paint might do the same thing, but these guys are here for the long haul. If I don't ever have to touch it again, I won't. And so I'm looking forward to testing that out based on what I know now and watching the install process, working with the team on the ground. I would very much recommend them with Roman as the project manager. He did a great job managing the workers and getting everything done that we needed to get done. They've also suggested if there's anything that comes up that I need help with, to call them directly. I have their own individual cell phone numbers, and so I can reach out to them at any time. I believe Rhino Shield is going to be the last time I have to paint this house, and I think it's going to be very much worth the investment.